course, you know, the social impact of the Dust Bowl was obviously tremendous. The social impact of the Dust Bowl was pretty much tremendous. We talked a little bit about the men. The men, a lot of them left their homes and they became hobos. They became hobos. They rode the rails to look for food. They were not bums. Okay? Basically, it comes from the word ho boy. A ho boy was somebody who would carry around a garden hoe and look for work. And so, like I said, these guys were not bums. They were hobos. My great Uncle Bob, who he passed away about 20 years ago, probably 25 years ago. He was a hobo during the Great Depression. He rode the rails, looking for food. Women pretty much suffered in silence. Women didn't do a lot of complaining or whatever. A lot of women suffered in silence. They carried on, even when the men had left, and so they had to pretty much carry on. They had to kind of suffer in silence. The children basically had to give up their childhood. There was very little schooling going on. If there was work to be done, they had to do it. Nutrition is going to be bad for the kids. Also, health care is going to be very poor. As a lot of these kids will have health issues later on because of the Great Depression. And so, to make matters worse, during the Great Depression, you had the Bonus Army. The Bonus Army. The Bonus Army were World War I veterans. They were supposed to be given their pension in like 1945 is when they were supposed to get their retirement or their pension from World War I. However, they wanted it in 1932. They needed it bad. And so, in 1932, they marched on Washington. And to demand their payment. However, they're eventually run out of town by the Army. Herbert Hoover will run the veterans out. I think even a couple people were killed. And so this is going to damage Hoover's popularity even more because of this. And his popularity is going to be very, very, almost zero by the time the election is going to come around. And so FDR will win the election in 1932. FDR defeat Hoover. When he was inaugurated, unemployment had increased by 7 million. Poor sections like Carlin had 50% of the population unemployed. And then eventually he's going to start the New Deal, which will basically help us get out of the Depression. It'll help us kind of get out of the Depression. And we'll talk a lot more about that after our test on the Great Depression starting next week. We'll get to the New Deal and the FDR's New Deal and how he'll eventually kind of give us some relief from the Great Depression.